Imagine a single piece of cloth so mysterious, so controversial, that it has defied both time and science. A relic believed by millions to bear the very image of Jesus Christ. But what if I told you, the truth about the Shroud of Turin isn't what you think? What secrets does this ancient fabric hold? And why, after centuries of analysis, debate, and even ridicule, are we still no closer to the truth? Stay with me. By the end of this video, you might never see this relic the same way again. Let's start from the beginning. The Shroud of Turin, a length of linen cloth, 14 feet long, imprinted with a haunting image of a crucified man. First documented in the 14th century, many believe it was the burial cloth of Jesus himself. It appeared in France, shrouded in both reverence and skepticism. Over time, it made its way to Turin, Italy, where it rests today, guarded like a treasure, studied like a puzzle, and revered like a relic of divine power. But how did a simple piece of cloth become an icon? And more importantly, is it truly what believers claim it to be? For Christians, the shroud represents more than just a burial cloth. It's a physical connection to Christ's suffering and resurrection, a testament to faith. But even beyond Christianity, it's a symbol of the unexplainable, a bridge between the seen and the unseen. If the image is real, then it changes everything. Proof of crucifixion. Proof of resurrection. Proof of God Himself. The cloth has survived fires, wars, and theft attempts. It's inspired countless works of art, even influencing depictions of Christ's face throughout history. Yet, through all the veneration and iconography, one question persists: is it truly divine, or an elaborate deception? 1988. A moment that shook believers to their core. Radiocarbon dating declared the shroud wasn't ancient, but medieval, dated between 1260 and 1390. A forgery? But wait, scientists now argue those samples were taken from a repaired corner, contaminated by centuries of handling and fire damage. The results, they claim, are unreliable. So, was the test flawed? Or did the truth get buried alongside the shroud's other secrets? The image on the cloth isn't painted, drawn, or woven. It's a photographic negative, a concept unheard of in medieval times. How could an artist from the Dark Ages create something so advanced that modern science can't replicate it? Even more astonishing, forensic experts found traces of blood, consistent with crucifixion wounds described in the Bible. Not paint. Not dye. Real human blood. But if this is blood, whose blood is it? Some scientists argue it's a brilliant medieval forgery, a masterful hoax. Others say the image was formed by an intense burst of radiation, perhaps even the energy released during resurrection. It sounds like science fiction. Or, does it? For believers, the shroud transcends science. The image is more than a man. It's a reflection of sacrifice, redemption, and eternal hope. It's said to represent Christ not in His glory, but in His suffering. A reminder that salvation came at a cost. Throughout history, the shroud has been a tool to spark devotion, a tangible sign of Christ's reality. Pilgrims flock to see it, hoping to feel closer to God. But the question remains, does it matter whether it's real, if it brings people closer to their faith? The shroud's fame extends far beyond church walls. It's appeared in movies, documentaries, and novels, depicted as everything from a holy artifact to the center of wild conspiracy theories. Some say it's a message from God. Others, a warning. And some still believe it's the greatest hoax in history. Even today, researchers continue to study the cloth with newer technology, searching for that elusive, final answer. Will the mystery ever be solved? Or is the shroud meant to remain an eternal question, a test of both faith and science? No matter where the truth lies, the Shroud of Turin has already achieved immortality, not just in linen, but in hearts and minds across the world. Maybe, the real power of the shroud isn't in what it is, but in what it makes us believe. So, what do you believe? Is it a miracle, or a masterpiece of deception? Perhaps the answer doesn't matter as much as the questions it forces us to ask. The shroud's influence on art and culture. The image of the man on the shroud, his face, his wounds, his pose, has seeped into the collective consciousness of believers and artists alike. From medieval paintings to modern films, the shroud's influence on how Christ is depicted is profound. Some of the earliest Renaissance painters are believed to have used the shroud as a reference for their works. The symmetry, the beard, the sorrowful yet serene expression, all became staples in how Jesus is portrayed. Could this single relic have shaped the very image of Christ that we know today? The shroud even made its way into literature. Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code touched on relics and secrets buried by time, stirring new generations to question historical artifacts. But the shroud's influence goes beyond fiction. It taps into something primal, the need to believe, to connect, to feel that history and faith intertwine. Modern technology keeps pushing the boundaries of what we know. In recent years, 3D imaging recreated a lifelike model of the man in the shroud. Scientists reconstructed his face, his body, bringing him to life as never before. Was this a face from the 1st century, or an illusion from the 14th? But let's take this one step further. What if the Shroud of Turin and the Dead Sea Scrolls aren't the only relics holding hidden truths? Imagine a world where more ancient artifacts are waiting to unveil secrets, truths that could redefine everything we believe. Stay with me, because the journey into the unknown has only begun. The shroud's journey isn't over. As technology advances and our understanding deepens, the relic's truth may one day emerge from the shadows. But until that day comes, the Shroud of Turin remains a timeless enigma, a relic that challenges our understanding of science, faith, and the very fabric of reality. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what it was meant to do. The search for answers continues, and as long as it does, the Shroud of Turin will remain more than a relic. It will be a symbol of humanity's eternal quest for truth.